Okie artichokes. No, too far. All right. So lesson 1.2.3, right? Hello, people who are not here. Ada, any sixth graders? Hello. Or any of you who are currently here and for some reason you might miss something. So you go.
I missed my eyeball.
So we already did our warm up, right? Yes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Except on the weekends. All right. So let's talk about that. I have a couple questions for you here. So get those questions written down. Get those questions written down. What challenges do geologists face when trying to identify a mineral by using its color? What challenges do geologists face when trying to identify a mineral by using its color? We talked about this in your reading. So geologists, what do they study? Who can tell me what geologists study first? Hayden?
Rocks.
Pretty much rocks, right?
Rock.
And in particular, solid earth. Solid earth. Geologists study solid earth. So when trying to identify a type of mineral, what kind of challenge or problem could they end up having, Ian?
Well, because of what makes up a mineral, it can have a certain amount of less color and
Less color?
like because it says, however, color alone cannot identify a mineral because many minerals are the same color.
Mhm.
For example, hornblende, magnetite, and saprolite
Mhm.
Can all be black, even
Right.
the color of one mineral. Very different.
Exactly.
It all depends because each mineral, because of how much certain, like what of its composure.
So what makes it up? So what you're pretty much trying to say in a shortened term is color. Can you identify all minerals based off of just color?
No.
No, you cannot. You cannot identify all minerals based off of just color, right? There are other properties that we need to use to be able to identify a mineral besides just color, right? So that's one challenge that geologists face. So I would write that down because the answer I have up here, it goes like, it takes up like all of the space for number one. So you're going to want to write that in your own words. So number two, are all cleavages or fractures the same? What do we think here, Aries?
No, because there's the perfect cleavage, which is when it breaks easily and cleanly in one or
Exactly.
more directions. Then there's also the irregular fractures, like this weird looking rock.
Right, exactly. So in short terms for this, no, they are not all the same because they all the different breaks for different types of minerals are going to break differently. Some break perfectly straight. Some are going to break in like a zigzag pattern. Some are going to break in, they'll like shatter, right? They'll end up shattering instead of just being a straight cut. So it all depends for that. So here's my long answers there. I want you to get your own answers written down. That's why I wrote down so much right here. I'm not going to give you time to write all that down. So number one, the answer, many minerals have the same color. This is pretty much just what Ian said,
Yeah.
such as hornblende, mullashite, olivine, and sapphire, which are all green.
Oh,
Right.
That's kind of cool.
Olivine is
Yeah. So all of those minerals right there are green. So would you be able to say all olivine are all green? Or yes, you could. But if you saw every single type of mineral that was green, you could not say, oh, that's olivine, right?
some
You wouldn't be able to say that.
minerals very close. Like
And yeah, so depending on the type of green too. So there's different types of shades of green as well. So get your answer written down for that however you would like. Number two, a mineral may cleave in more than one direction. Just like Aries was saying, it may cleave in various degrees of perfection. For example, halite breaks into small cubes, which is it's actually really cool. Topaz breaks along a single plane to its base. So it's just one straight cut. And gypsum breaks perfectly only on one plane. So that could be perfectly diagonal, perfectly not perpendicular, horizontal, vertical. So different minerals break in different ways depending on The cleave. Yes, Aiden. Mhm.
If you look it up, it has so many different colors.
Mhm.
My birthstone is diamond.
Yep, and a lot of different minerals, they do have different colors as well. All right, so let's go on to the next one. So we have 7 different physical properties. 7 different physical properties. These are all the ones we're going to be talking
I
about
like
today.
those quartz we have with one house, like big chunks like that.
So pretty much what we're talking about over the next 2 days is we're pretty much just talking about each one of these at length. We're going to talk about each one of these different physical properties. We touched on color and cleavage a little bit already, but we're going to talk about all of them more at length. And I have lots of images to show examples. So one thing that's going to be nice about these next couple days, we've got lots and lots of pictures for lots and lots of examples. So we got color, we got luster, we got hardness, streak, cleavage, fracture, and density. Does anyone know the equation for density? Does anyone know the equation for density?
Oh, we did it. I forgot it.
Alan, do you know the example, the equation for density? If you want, you can just hold it up.
Why?
Do you know? No? Okay. Blake,
Oh,
do you know the equation for density? It said in your reading.
I remember.
Dylan, do you know the equation for density?
I know the equation. Density, the mass per unit of volume of.
Yeah, the mass per unit volume. So what does that mean? What is the actual equation? Johnny?
Density equals the mass in grams divided by the volume in square centimeters.
Exactly.
Centimeters.
So density equals M divided by V. Mass in grams divided by volume. Centimeters. Yeah.
What did we say?
What did we test? I don't even remember now. Okay, so those are our 7 physical properties. All you got to write down is these 7 words. Most of them are all your vocab words too. So, and it's in the very first paragraph as well. It's in the very first paragraph. I'm pretty sure they're all italicized too, aren't they? So anyway, colors,
But what is supposed to look like?
because that's how you spell it in other countries. Colors. So for colors, the absorption of the certain wavelengths of light by atoms making up the crystal. So wavelengths, most of you have not have ever learned about wavelengths before, except for my 8th graders. We talked about this a little bit in physical science, right?
And where is it? That science book, the big bad notebook has like a whole 2
Yes,
or
yes, you're writing this.
something.
Yep. So wavelengths, what are they? Well, there are different wavelengths for how you see color. There are different wavelengths for how you see color, right? And there's also different wavelengths for how you see other things as well. There's ultraviolet light, there's X-ray light, there's all kinds of different black light, right? There's all kinds of different wavelengths that measure differently to see different colors, to see different things, right? X-ray wavelengths, you're able to see inside of like a human body, you're able to see the bones, right? There's different types of wavelengths where you're able to see, ultraviolet light, you're able to see, what is that called? With ultraviolet light, you're able to see like you're able to see blood, right? You're able to see blood that is not visible, but you're able to see like the remnants and the leftover of the blood. So like in a hotel, if someone died, you're able to see blood all over a comforter or all over the walls, even if it was washed off, right? It's still going, the remnants is still going to be on the walls using UV light. Yeah, Johnny?
What is light made of? Is light just like light? There's nothing to it?
What is it made of?
Yeah.
Photons, protons, neutrons, electrons.
So
Yeah,
just
photons.
same thing as atoms.
Yeah, same thing as atoms, but photons is the best way I can explain it.
How does it like go like fast?
How does it go so fast? I don't know how it is so fast. William, thank you for raising your hand.
Well, first off, wouldn't the speed of dark be a little bit faster?
There is no such thing as speed of dark.
It's still
Darkness
light.
is the absence of light.
It is light, but it's not.
There's just no light. So darkness
And then
means that there is no light present.
also, do you
So color and appearance in the light depends upon the composition and structure of the substance. So the actual color and appearance depends on its structure. So depending on the type of mineral you're looking at, if it has more rounded edges, it could look different on a structure that has jagged edges, right? So looking at some of these structures, right? Some of them are more smooth, some of them are more, you can see through them, right? So this middle one, you can actually see through the entire structure. So like diamonds, you can see through the actual diamond. But some of the other ones are a little more murky inside. You can't see through the mineral. It's not translucent like others. You don't have to write down that third point. That's just me reminding me to show you this image right here.
Well, I
Talk
wrote
about
it down anyways.
Yeah, because it won't really make sense if you write that down.
I wrote down like what's it mean.
Yeah. Questions about colors, Brady?
Why is the English language so weird that now we're not, like, different countries, like.
You can ask Mrs. Hanson that question. But colors and many other words, they're just spelled like this. If you spell colors like this, I wouldn't mark you wrong. I would not mark you wrong because you can, a lot of times in science, there are scientists within America that do spell colors like this. So there's nothing wrong with spelling it like this. It's just English language is weird. You're going to hear that for the rest of your life. Okay, so we have many different colors of quartz. So this is one of the images, not as clear as I was hoping, but that's okay.
Okay, which rose?
So this one right here is amethyst. That's a type of quartz, right? Just looking at all of these different types, we got rose quartz, got a little pink in it, the rock crystal, got my face in the way of the smoky. I'm like, why do I see myself? I don't want to see that. We got smoky quartz, and then we got, I don't even know how to say that one. Citrine. So as you can see, just different types of quartz are not all the same color, right? We have different variations. How do you identify it? Well, there's rose quartz, smoky quartz, right? Different types just based off of how it looks. Yes, Aiden? Shh, quiet, please.
I have a piece of citrine that's like a crystal, right? It's like this and.
Yeah. Prism.
Yeah, prism. But at the rock museum, they have this wall with a ton of rocks on it.
Oh, yeah.
And then it lights up and all the like rocks are different colors.
Right. Yep. I did know that. Aries?
3 quick things. One, amethyst. There's this shop that sells like a really big one, almost that reaches to the roof almost, but it's like this wide only.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's a couple $1,000. And rose, we have like chunks like this big just hidden in our grass. There's
It's like a
put them there.
giant crystal amethyst
And
sitting next to
also, it was so important. No, it's not important because I can't.
Okay, that's okay. If you remember, just let me know. All right, so we have many different types of actual white minerals, right? So we have quartz, different colors of quartz, but minerals in general, there's a lot of different types of minerals that are white, right? Lots of different types of white minerals as well. So not all, you cannot identify a mineral just based off of its color. You can't say all quartz are all white. You cannot say that all quartz is all pink. That's pretty much what I'm trying to get through to you here. Okay, streak. We got streak. So the color of a mineral powder is called streak. The actual color of the powder is called the streak. Huh?
grab the
It has
No, that's okay.
certain scales that you have to have.
Yep. I don't have anything that I would want, that I would be able to rub it on. So how are you able to actually get the streak? Well, you have to have a certain type of porcelain plate. Porcelain is very, very strong. It's a very abrasive type of mineral to rub against. So when you rub a mineral on it, it is able to leave a streak. So if I was like, oh, I want to rub this rock up against my table, what's it going to do? It's just going to scratch my table, right? I can't just scratch this up on the wall. It's going to put a dent in my wall, right? I can't just rub this up against the lockers it's going to scratch the locker. I could, but it's not going to leave the streak that we're looking for, right? The streak, the color is going to be different depending on what type of mineral you have. So it's important in the case of colored minerals, which often give a much lighter streak opposed to their original color. So some minerals that have a darker color, they will give off a lighter streak, right? Just like pyrite. There are certain types that are of minerals that are like black, and they'll actually give off a white streak. Yep. Oh, do they actually show a picture of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Streak plates with pyrite left and rhodo.
It's the same one that you put on the.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep. Yeah, it's just like this one right here. See this little image right here, how this darker piece leaves the white streak. This darker is going to leave a black scratch. So streak color is not what I want you to know. So if I was to ask you a quiz question here, one thing I could ask you is, does the streak color always match the color of the mineral? True or false, right? And you would say false for that.
What about rainbow rock?
So that would be that's going to be probably a true false question I end up asking on a quiz or test. Is that question? Do you?
You could bring some, I like the shapes and some.
Quiz is worth a different percentage of your grade, and for test, they're a lot longer. They are not 20 questions. They're about 60 to 70 questions.
You usually only get.
I give you, huh? No. So your final exam, I used to not do this. So those of you who had me in the past, you can attest to this. I used to give final exams without the book.
Yeah, I remember.
You had to take the final exam. You could not use your notes. You could not use your book. And one thing that I ended up doing.
Somehow I did better when I wasn't.
Yep, there was one time, there's been times where I said, okay, you get a note card, fit everything you can on that note card, that's all you get. Now, Mr. Doomer at his old age has been like, I'll go ahead and let you use your book, I'll let you use your notes, I'll let you use anything you want besides the internet.
Very generous.
Right?
26, right?
Huh? I'm 26, turning 27.
Isn't it ironic? The first time you let us use our books and notes is when I got the worst grade.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've noticed. That's one thing I've noticed with final exams is even though you may have your book, even though you may have your notes, sometimes there are people who score more poorly. Why? Well, when people when they're able to rely on that, they're not going to score as high because they don't actually study and they don't know what their notes mean. They don't know what the actual content means. When you're studying, one of the nice things about studying is you're actually trying to obtain what the information means. When you're just reading it out of the book, sometimes when you're reading through those words, you don't actually know what they mean. You're just grazing through them and the content is not sticking in your brain. It's just, you're just pretty much skimming over the words, even if you're not trying to. Yes, Brady?
I can't see about the last word one.
Important in case of color colored minerals, which
Is the podium in the way or is my computer in the way?
There's nothing in the way. I just can't see it.
Oh, you just can't see it? So this one says important in the case of colored minerals,
It's a lot.
which often give a much lighter streak than their original body color. The body color just means the color of the actual mineral.
I couldn't see it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. I got a lot of things I got to type up in a short amount of time. I don't always check myself. Okay, luster. Luster. We talked about color, we've talked about streak. Let's talk about luster.
The way of.
The luster is the way of a mineral, which reflect the light from its surface and may define the shine of a mineral. So, best way of remembering this one is your mineral going to be shiny? Is it going to be dull? Right? So most minerals that are shiny, are they going to be metallic or non-metallic? Who can tell me? Johnny?
Probably metallic.
Mostly metallic. Yep, there are some rare cases where types of minerals that are non-metallic are shiny, but for the most part, metallic luster means it's going to be shiny. Non-metallic luster usually means it's going to have a more dull color. Now, that's not always true. There are some rare cases, but for the most part, with luster, you're dealing with things that are shiny or dull. there are there's like a shiny scale. So some things are shinier than others, right? One thing that a lot of people go shopping for is like for jewelry. Well, forks too, just silverware, right? There are certain types of silverware that's shinier than others, right? Another thing, other than jewelry is, what's it called?
Oh,
In my bathroom, actually computer
They
tips
got
too.
gold.
In my bathroom, one thing that I did like a couple of weeks ago was I told you guys about this, was I had to replace, I pretty much had to get all that hair out of my bathroom drain because of my wife's hair, my dog's hair, because I give my dog baths in the bathtub. So a lot of his hair was down there, and there was even a nail. There was even a nail down in the drain. So whoever was in the house last, for some reason, there was a nail down there. So when I was actually digging all that hair out, I pull it out, I cut myself. I had my,
How many
I did.
infections?
but I've had my tetanus shot within the last 5 years, so I'll be good. Obviously, I'm still alive, and it's 2 weeks later. Right. So, quiet, please. Quiet, please. So, the parts that are in your, like in your bathroom, sometimes you have a silver finish to your, like the tub finish. Sometimes you have copper finish, and there's many other types of finishes that are on your shower head, on the handle, on the drain cover, right? There's different types of finish depending on the bathroom you're at. There's some bathrooms now that have a white finish, a black finish, right? So when you're trying to match that luster, there are some types of silver finishes that are going to be shinier, They're going to be more reflective. There's some types that are more dull. I tried to match mine at Ace. One of my problems was the ones that I have are more dull, and the one I ended up buying was more shiny. So it doesn't really match the finish of the current ones I have. So it doesn't match, right? So even though it was silver, the luster was still different, even though it was still metallic. All right, that's luster. So some different examples that I have here, some with some other words. Metallic, some metallic examples here. They're a lot more clear, right? You can see through them a little bit better. They're gonna reflect when the light shines on them. Dull, it's gonna be very dark. It's not gonna shine at all. I don't even know what this word is. Vitreous, and then pearly. Pearly is very pretty when you have any kind of jewelry. A lot of your types of jewelry, not necessarily for guys. We don't really want our jewelry to be pearly, right? But there's some jewelry out there that you want to be pearly like this or have that sparkle. Pearly usually has a lot of sparkles in it. So that's going to be luster. Okay.
YouTube.
Wow, we finished fast. Okay. You know what, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. That's where I was going to stop today, but we're cruising, so let's keep going. Because I don't even have the video yet. That's where I was going to stop today, but I don't even have the video yet. So hardness. Hardness. So with hardness, we're going to we're going to define the resistance of a mineral to scratching. So certain types of minerals, when you try and scratch it with like a knife, especially like an X-Acto knife, if you try and scratch it, some of them are very easy to scratch. Some of them are very easy to scratch. There are certain types of minerals though, if you try and scratch it with a knife, it's not even going to scratch. If anything, you might break your knife because of how hard the actual mineral is. There is a chart. There's a chart in your book. What page is that on? Page 29. The field hardness scale that shows certain types of minerals that are harder than others. So take a look at that with me now to see which ones are harder than others on that hardness scale. It's in like a yellow box that says FYI. So the hardness scale, there's a number 1. It says easily scratched with a fingernail. The hardness is 1, and that mineral is going to be talc. Talc, I don't care how you end up pronouncing it. The next easiest to get scratched, so is being able to scratch it just with your fingernail. That's going to be gypsum. Being able to scratch it with your penny, that's going to be calcite. Number 4, easily scratching it with a knife. is going to be fluorite. 5, scratching with a knife barely scratches the glass. That's going to be apatite. Is that how you pronounce that one?
Yeah, that's how you.
Interesting.
You would know.
Yeah.
Down the bottom.
Then we have number 6, scratching it with a steel file. So easily scratches the glass, feldspar. 7, scratches a steel file and glass. That's going to be quartz. And then we get down to like topaz, corundum, and then diamond. So diamond is the hardest mineral out there. It's going to be the hardest mineral out there. It is very, very challenging to actually get a scratch on it. You got to have some pretty strong equipment out there.
300% change in like the hardness from corundum.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And just to, and that doesn't, it may not sound like a lot, but the ability to scratch a actual diamond, if you ever look at like, you're able to look at someone's diamond ring, like mom's diamond ring, dad's diamond. Yeah, most people just have a gold band, or like your grandma's diamond ring. If you're able to look at it, you could, if they were to let you, do a little science test to see how strong, how pure the actual diamond is. So I would not just take that diamond, because a lot of times some of your moms or grandmas might not even have a real diamond, right? Or the diamond might not be pure diamond. It could be, it also could be a different type of mineral that looks a lot like a diamond, but it's fake. Yes.
That happened.
That happened once.
Our neighbors,
Mhm.
Owen's was proposed to.
Mhm.
After that, her son Cannon
Mhm.
wanted to do a scratch test on the diamond, and it was fake, and she thought it was actually real, and she freaked out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, there's a lot of cheaper options. So gentlemen, when you go shopping for your wife one day to go buy a diamond, well, to get married to someone, your lady's gonna want a diamond ring.
Yeah.
So bling.
You kind of want some bling, right? My wife, when I went shopping for her ring, I was actually pretty lucky. I had a diamond, like the actual diamond, the actual rock already. So all I had to shop for was the band and like the thing that it's set in, right?
Yeah.
So that's all I had to shop for. I already had the diamond, so that's the most expensive part.
You're lucky.
I know, but when you go shopping, I have I know some people who spend thousands to 10,000s. It's a lot of money.
Like
Diamonds, start saving up, gentlemen. They're expensive.
Yeah, Clayton's ring, it's so weird. So Tammy bought him like a $2,000 ring, which is still pretty expensive.
Oh, it is.
Then he bought her over a $20,000 ring
Yep.
for their wedding.
But yeah,
I want a black opal ring. I don't care if it's usually done. Black opal looks a lot better.
it looks cool.
Yeah, black.
It's like a galaxy ring.
Right. So one thing, so you don't necessarily have to buy a real diamond, or if you're able to get a diamond from like some family member who's passed away, because that's what I did. I had a family member who I took their diamond from their old ring and I was able to put it in. There are other options. They look a lot like diamonds, but they are not going to be as hard, right? So that's what I'm kind of talking about there. Even if it looks like a diamond, it's not going to be a diamond. So a lot of jewelers are going to be able to tell, because when they look at it through a little, gosh, I don't even know what those things are called, but pretty much a not a styroscope, magnifying glass. There we go. Don't know why I couldn't remember that. When they're looking through like a little magnifying glass, they're able to see, first off, impurities in it, and to see if it's even a diamond, to see if it's real or not. So hardness is determined by rubbing a mineral of unknown hardness against one of known hardness. So how are we able to measure how hard something is? We can use the Mohs scale. In our book, we're using the field hardness scale. There's lots of different types of scales. People measure it by scratching it just with like a fingernail, right? There's some things, if you scratch it with just your fingernail, it's going to scratch. If you try and scratch like a metal locker with your fingernail, is it going to scratch? No. So what if you scratch with a penny? Is it going to scratch? No, probably not. If you push really, really hard, maybe. But if you use some kind of knife, it's definitely going to scratch that metal, right? And that would describe how hard it is according to that scale. Aiden.
My grandma, they got their ring,
Mhm.
this guy, he ripped him off.
Mhm.
Because it has a sapphire in the middle, and then there's like pieces of gold around it.
Right.
That gold was fake.
Yeah.
And it eventually thought, no.
Well, and gold is very malleable too. So if it's a fake gold, it's going to be brittle as well. So yeah, that stinks. Okay, so here is the example of the Mohs hardness scale. The Mohs hardness scale. You guys can see the example of the field hardness scale. That one's a good one too. The reason I like this one, first off, it's just a little easier for me to read because they use pictures, right? And they also use drill bits in this example.
Yeah.
So the masonry drill bit, or you can find masonry blades, that's going to cut through a lot of these harder minerals,
Not quite.
right? So in your book, they don't actually list a masonry scale, masonry bit or blade, but that's going to cut through your topaz and even some kinds of corundum.
You only put diamond with diamond.
Diamond with diamond.
No,
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what you can. Right, but not with just some kind of blade.
Get a sword.
Yeah, you're going to have to do something else to it. Whoops. Yeah, any questions here with that hardness scale? Because I'm going to have some questions about the hardness scale on a quiz. Yes. No, you don't need to write it down because it's already in your book. Yep.
Well, if you cut diamonds with a diamond blade. Yeah.
I honestly don't know. If you do it, so like a diamond blade on my what was that? Anyway, on my skill saw, there we go. My diamond blade on my skill saw is able to cut through pretty much anything, right? But the problem with it is it gets really, really hot. And the problem is it can overheat your piece of equipment. So my actual skill saw. So the problem with that is if you're trying to cut through diamond, it might get too hot. Sparks are going to fly, right? So you want to be careful if you are ever cutting real diamond with a diamond blade. Yes, Max. Netherite? No. Okay.
There's a different dimension when you go mining. I mean, technically, there is like the hell.
There's a hell in heaven.
Yeah, you didn't know about hell?
Okay.
No, he meant-
So that's all we're going to get through today. That is all we're going to get through today. So you guys can put away your notes, and get all cleaned up. Get all cleaned up.
Wait, the first, wait. Minecraft